Hello, heroes, and welcome to our next Heroes podcast, where we speak to inspiring women across many different fields, from business to charity to fashion and more. We learn about their journeys to achieve all of the amazing things that they have, and also talk about the support network of heroes that inspire them as well. So I'd just like to say hello to artist, entrepreneur, and fundraiser, the founder of Olina, Grazia Sauelle. You can correct me if I've said that wrong in a second, Grazia. But you're the star of today's show, so welcome.
It's all right. Hello everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I am really honored to be part of this community you are creating. It's fantastic. And yes, thank you so much. Yes, my name is Grazia Sauelle, so it was correct.
Thank you. I haven't started off on the back foot. So I'm excited.
No, it's all right.
I'm ecstatic to have you here. So a big thank you for agreeing to be on the podcast episode and let me and my listeners know a bit more about your great work and the background of it as well, because it's such an interesting story that you're going to go into. I was so humbled and inspired when I came across your market store on Chatsworth Road a few weeks ago, and we stopped for a brief chat and I was eager to learn more. So honoured to find out more. So thank you. And to kick us off, do you just want to tell us a little bit about you and Olina as well?
Yes. All right. So Olina combines art and sustainable fashion to empower women. It's all about supporting women. It's all about breaking taboos and narratives about women. And Olina, it's really a project that aims to support women to embrace the best version of themselves. It's at the same time, I want to just normalize what is very normal for women, like period or struggles or mental health, and talk about it and be bold about it and be unapologetically a woman. And at the same time, I am here to spread sex positivity, body positivity, and also very important when I talk about women, I'm including everyone identify themselves as a woman, so not just human born with a vulva, because it's really important and it's very specific nowadays, so it's very important to say that. And I'm also a great supporter of the LGBTQ community, so LGBTQ plus community. So yes, Olina is a safe space basically for everyone out there, and I really would like to educate people to have conversation like we would talk about it during our podcast and during our chat. But we met at the Chatsworth Road market, and has been an incredible experience because I really get to see people's reaction about my art and my t-shirts and about everything. And some people understand it straight away, some others no, and I have to explain them and let them see things from a very different point of view. And yeah, Olina is just, I wanted to use fashion to tell stories about women, and it's something not really common in fashion, but
yeah, I have to say,
and we talk about it.
Yes, definitely. I have to say that coming across your stall, I had never seen a fashion brand like yours, and yeah, it's for some people, I guess, shocking when they come across it. And I bet you have such amazing conversations educating people about the background to why you started Olina, which is amazing because it's not just going to buy clothes. They've got meaning, and obviously you've got a story to tell behind it. And you obviously give some of your proceeds to charity as well, which I'd love to know more about.
Yes, exactly. So let's start from the scratch. Like every single t-shirt, every single print that you can see out there has a connection with a real story that happened in my life, or like story that I heard from other stories. So every single things is just really connected to reality. And because Olina's goal and mission is to support women, for me it was deeply important to support as many women as possible, also people that are not here close to us, people that we don't see, or many other realities that we don't face. We are lucky enough to don't face, but they are existing. And so yes, I also donate. I do some charity donation. No, some donation to charity organization. Like Women Heights, that is a charity organization that look after women victims of domestic abuse. And also at the moment I do donation to another charity organization that has a beekeeping in India, and all the people working in the factory are women. So it's just like, yeah, it's important for me to know that I am selling clothes, but at the same time I am empowering the woman is going to wear that t-shirt, and at the same time people that don't even know this project exists because they didn't have the chance to, to get to know. But yeah, support is something really, really special that often human beings forget.
Oh, exactly. And that particularly inspired me as well. So I'm a Women's Aid ambassador actually as well. So when I saw that on Chatsworth Road Market, you mentioned it on one of your signs, and that particularly drew me in because I'm really passionate about that. I've been affected in many different ways by domestic violence, so I'm very proud to be an ambassador for them. So even more proud to be talking to you as well.
Thanks. Thank you. Well, that's the other thing. I can loudly say I'm a lucky woman. Okay, I have a very nice family, and I have nice friends that love me. And yes, I had to face in my life so many unpleasant situations with men or like patriarchy in my life, but nothing close to, violence, to sexual abuses. So it's like something that as a woman, I feel we have to do something for each other. It's really, really important to help each other and to have each other's back. And this is the bare minimum really that we can do.
Oh, exactly. As you say, it's important that women support each other. And we've obviously recently had International Women's Day, which I'm sure you're aware of. And I think one of the strongest messages that came through for that is that we need to also encourage men to be allies, and any other genders as well as women supporting each other. That's a great start, but we need to spread that message further, which is exactly what you're trying to do. So
yes, exactly. It's fantastic to have a day to celebrate it, even though like if you see at the base, like why do we need to celebrate Women's Day? It's because we went historically through so many different struggles in life that we had to celebrate, one day for us, which is like, how crazy is that? If you see things from a different perspective, like, we shouldn't celebrate it. Like, why we have to be celebrated only one day? We are special 365 days a year.
Exactly.
What I mean? So
yeah, no, I've had that kind of debate and conversation with many people, and I still completely agree with the fact and love that there is International Women's Day, just because it gives us a platform for those other 364 days to continue the conversation, and it raises awareness. And there have been some people I've spoken to that say it's a marketing ploy, and people latch onto it and then they don't do anything else. But we know but through people like you, that people are doing things all year round to support women, and it's just a platform to heighten that message for one day. And Women's History Month is all this month as well, so it's a good platform, I think, to spread the message even further. Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Yes. It's still, as we were saying, is an opportunity. Like, as long as we have the opportunity to talk about it, it's absolutely great. But hey, we shouldn't need to because we should be absolutely equal. But hey, we will get there.
Hopefully one day. Yes, we will for sure. And then you mentioned, obviously I mentioned that I came across you on Chatsworth Road Market, and I know that you've made some big life decisions at the moment. You've got your stall, so what are you up to at the moment with Olina and anything else in life, really?
All right. Yes. So the Chatsworth Road, I trade also in other markets over Christmas time. I am more present there at the Chatsworth Road. And I am currently in the process of find a way to reach out as many women as possible. And so I want to reach out to shops and to, like, you know, if they would be willing to get my products on board. But at the same time, I would like to create events where just women can walk in and, like, you know, feel free to talk about everything, which is something that I never thought about it before starting. But when I started at the market, and I realized that women are really happy to feel that someone is there to hear them. And
Yes.
I came across so many incredible stories, women that they're like, oh, like there are women that really come there every single week just to say, oh, I feel so happy when I'm here because I feel I can talk about it. And I'm like, you know, I'm having these struggles with my health, with my mental health. And, like, you know, so I would like in the future to create events where we can just have an open conversation about everything, like, you know, everything is absolutely normal. So yeah, I'm in the process of spreading the words, spreading the love as much as I can, which is not always easy.
Right.
As we were mentioning before, connecting is just like when you are after everything, it's not easy, but it's challenging, and it makes me happy because it's something that I can see it works. And I can see women being happy, and, you know, just that keeps me going.
I love that, because you've not only got, pardon me, a backstory of why you started Olina that obviously clearly goes beyond it being a fashion brand, but what you just said about creating a safe space and that people come back to you repeatedly just to have conversations about anything that they would like to, because they see it as that safe space. It's a community of people, like the HER.oes community as well, where people should feel open and free to have those conversations, and it's based around a fashion brand.
Or like you have no idea how many women, like artists or creatives, they come there and they're like, oh, that's cool, you're doing this, but like, I don't know, maybe I should do it, or like, how can you do it? I'm like, yes, do it. Just like, let's do it. I gave so many information about how to apply to do the markets, or like, you know, just like feedback. I'm like, yes, you have to do it. Don't worry, don't think about it. Just go there and do it. And it's incredible. Like, I really wish I could have a camera on my store and see all the different kinds of reaction, because I just posted something on my Instagram. Not always are nice stories, not always are nice comments, but when they are really fulfilling, and it's really happy and empowering too.
Yes, yeah, I did see that on your Instagram earlier, and I think there was a good example that you've obviously mentioned to me previously, that sometimes you get some unsavory comments of people that come up, which is not nice to hear, but hopefully you're doing something to educate them so they won't repeat those comments to other people. But there was some really nice stories as well of people where you're opening their eyes to things, and then they're intrigued.
Yes, many times I have conversations, especially with men, that they're really not there, and they're like, okay, well, they walk away, and then maybe a few weeks after they come back and they're like, you know, I've been thinking about it, and yes, you were right, I was seeing things from a wrong perspective, from a different point of view, like from what society forced me to see, but actually it's not really like that. Of course, then there is a huge gap from realizing they are seeing things from a wrong perspective to behave like they are in the right path. Like it's really that gap that needs to be closed, because I do have so many conversations with my friends, and they're like, that they're not maybe victim of toxic masculinity, but I'm like, yes, you are fine, darling, but there are many other men out there that they don't make us feel safe on the street, and you know, you should do something too to help us, and you know, you should step up too for us. But I think things are changing. And if we don't talk and we don't explain what we feel and what we experience, also there is no way that we can change things. So we need to be loud. We have to tell everything.
Yes, I like that. We need to be loud. That's definitely a key thing, to be loud and proud about what messages we're trying to give off. And I do notice things changing. I don't know whether it's because I'm in conversations like this with people more often, and I get involved with lots of other inclusion and diversity initiatives outside of gender equality as well. And you see men or anybody that's inspired by inclusion and wants to be educated, the cogs kind of fitting together and them understanding the message. But as you say, it's the point between understanding the message and taking action that we need people to behave differently. And we're
Exactly.
at a crossroads now where lots of people hear the message, but we need to take action. And so, yeah, the louder we can be, hopefully that happens very soon and more quickly than it has done for the last few centuries at least.
Yes, because at the same time, as we were saying before, for the Women's Day, it's just like so crazy to see what feminism, like the history of feminism and how many waves of feminism we have. And today we are still having this conversation. It's just like absolutely crazy that sometimes if I really like think about it, I'm like, this is like so disturbing. Like, why are we still fighting? Why are we still, in this situation? But you're right, things are changing, and it's nice. It's nice to see, sometimes to see people that are like, hey, yes,
I get
changing things.
For sure.
Yeah.
And what about before Olina? Tell us, obviously you are Italian. So tell us about what happened before Olina in the lead up to you actually starting your business.
Well, that's very interesting because I have a fashion background. So I always worked in fashion for a luxury product. And when I say fashion, I'm mentioning the product development side. So not in retail, but like where, let's say, the magic happens. And that was a dream since I was little. I worked really hard to reach my dream, to make my dream come true. And when I start working, I realized that fashion isn't this great place to be. Has often a very toxic environment, and we talk a lot about fast fashion, but high fashion, it's actually not that different on many aspects. And there are also so many women that are really talented women, but not really empowered because they are just victim of the system, and they are not aware of their potential. And so for me, fashion has been, I always say fashion for me has been like a toxic relationship, because I love fashion, but it was really bad for my mental health at some point. So it was like a really bad place on so many levels. But at the same time, I can't be far away from that place because it's just something that I love it. I love fashion, but it's unethical for the planet, unethical for people that works in fashion. And before pandemic, I quit my job in one of the biggest company in the UK scene. And I was like, this is not working for me. And I am going to actually work on my version of fashion, or what for me is fashion. And then pandemic arrived and Olina was born at the same time, in a kind of way. Yes.
Yeah, I've spoken to many of my guests where, and one of my questions that you kind of answered is always, what kept you going through the pandemic? Because I started this podcast at the beginning of the pandemic when I realized how much I missed just inspiring conversations with women that I didn't necessarily know, as well as obviously family and friends that I did know, because you learn so much and everybody copes in different ways. So it's so interesting to hear so many people might have started businesses or pivoted what they were doing, as you did. You said you quit a toxic environment to start something more ethical yourself, that your ambition and your dreams were more aligned to morally. So it's so good to hear that the pandemic, as awful as it has been for so many people in so many ways, that it has spurred a lot of people to pivot their dreams and actually go ahead and be loud and proud and start something that they've always been passionate about.
Yes, exactly. And also because I quit my job just before pandemic, not knowing absolutely that pandemic was arrive and we would have like nearly 2 years of lockdown. So I was really not aware about that. But when that happened, I was like, you know what, this is a great opportunity for me to
Hmm.
really do what I love, to do it really inspires me and it really makes me happy. And I have been absolutely restless during lockdown. I had the opportunity to grow as person, to
Hmm.
gather all the information about women empowerment, and I had the chance to do my website and like to do everything basically. And but at the same time, I really believe in somehow it has been for some people a really awful experience, but at the same time it kind of give us something special, because we not always get the chance to be by yourself, with your thoughts, with yourself, and figured out something to go through the day, or like to really deal with yourself and with your mental health. So many have like experienced anxiety and
Hmm.
struggles, and myself, like in the first lockdown, I was like, well, coming out of that really bad experience, I was like, this is um, I don't feel great. Like I don't
Hmm.
really feel centered, and I had to take action to actually grow and do something for myself. And it was brilliant. Like, also because we used to see struggles as something negative, but
Hmm.
I really do believe, and I'm convinced that struggles is what make us stronger, because if we overcome them, it's just like give us the strength to be a better person and a stronger person. So welcome struggles, welcome pain, welcome all difficult period in life, because it's just what's going to make us great.
Of course, yeah, and not forgetting, I guess, that space and time to think and grow doesn't happen in the same way for everyone. I guess when
Of
we think about
course.
the pandemic, of course, I am similar to you, so kind of live by myself or with a few other people and had that space because I only had myself to look after, really. So had that space to grow and think and use that struggle positively. And it will take some other people longer, or they'll do it in different ways that we have to respect as well. But yeah, I'm totally on board with what you said around the pandemic being a blessing in disguise in some ways to help you grow as a person, because you have time to reflect, don't you? Whereas before, I was
Yes.
like you, and I still am. I still work in the corporate world, and I enjoy it. And I'm lucky that I don't work in a toxic environment. Um, but it allows you space to think about what you really want, which you obviously pivoted and moved into pursuing your dream, which is Olina. What was there like one
Yes.
moment that you that made you think I don't want to do this anymore? I don't want to work for big fashion brands. They don't align with my ethics, and I want to pursue something. Was there one moment that made you do that?
Well, it was a moment. Well, yes, I had this really went to Barcelona to visit a friend,
Hmm.
and we had a road trip on a motorbike, and I it was really funny experience, because we supposed to spend on a bike like not even an hour, but we got the wrong road and we traveled for like 3 hours on a bike, and I wasn't wearing like motorbikes clothes, and like I was just in my shorts, like really not appropriate. But that experience going so fast, it really made me realize I have to do something. Like I
Hmm.
have to do something that really makes me happy in life, because this is not working. And like, going so fast on a motorbike where uh, it could be a second that you have like, like that you get paranoid and like you have an accident, and you just like, you might easily lose your life. And it's just like, what, I was like, okay, now I'm coming back. And straight after that trip, I print out my first 2 t-shirts, which are not too official of my prints, but that was the first time I had that click, and I was like, okay, this needs to happen. Then of course it's not easy to take a risk and say, okay, I have to quit this job because anyway, we have rent to pay, we have bills to pay, and it's not always easy. But at some point later on, a few months later, it was like, it feels like it's more risky to stay in a situation that is not making me happy than take the risk to leave it and, going for my own path and create my own life as I wanted to. So, yeah, that was a moment, really a moment that it clicked me something inside.
That's amazing. I'm just picturing you like kind of wind in your hair in the country lanes.
No, well,
Barcelona.
I had the helmet. Well, I had the helmet, but not really. Not really the proper one. Exactly. So it wasn't
first,
like
listeners. Safety first.
Exactly. Please stay safe. It wasn't planned to be so long, but please stay safe always, all the time. It was kind of irresponsible of us, but again, it was supposed to be really, really short trip. But
yeah. Well, no, but I love it,
and it worked anyway.
Exactly, and it's moments of kind of serenity, I want to say, like that again, going back to what you said about the pandemic, you had the space to think and you were enjoying your time there and feeling so free. Yeah. And I also love what you said, like it was more risky to stay in a position that you weren't happy with than to change something. You knew you had financial commitments and rent to pay and things, and you're not in a position where that wasn't important to you, but you knew that your mental health and you wanted to be happier was going to be more easily achieved by pursuing what you wanted to do. So it's an absolutely amazing story. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And you've already given so many great snippets of advice. I've got so many good quotes that I've written down here to like summarize at the end. Hopefully I've captured them all. But what would be your one piece of advice that you'd like to give the listeners if they want to pursue an initiative that supports inclusivity, or to quit their job and pursue something that they're passionate about? What would be your piece of advice?
All right. My advice would be always listen your gut. Like what you feel it's right for you, it's exactly the right things for you. Like do not compromise with anything. It's just go with something that it's right for you. And along the way, you are going to meet so many people. They are going to try to discourage you, to judge you, to express opinion that no one has them. Fine, let them talk. Don't care about it. Just straight for your goal, because that what really matters to you. And yeah, I mean, it's not easy. Especially like I tend to be a perfectionist and I want things to be perfect, and like, I'm really high demanding with myself. But along this project and along the way, I learned that perfectionism is not really right. Like you have to make things going, like put it out there, and then you get better on your way. And if you don't start, you will never perceive it. So just start, just do it, just go for it, and don't care about anything else. Take advices from people that already had similar experience, that had a similar option, that can really give you a significant advice. But do not listen anything from people that they never done anything in life and they're always expert for everything. Like don't listen that kind of people, but go with your gut and it will be fine. You will make it.
Exactly. I'm similar to you. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I'm sure anyone that knows me very well that's listening to this podcast episode will say that I'm underestimating how much of a perfectionist I am. And even with things, it's not starting my own business, but starting this podcast. I had no clue who my listeners were going to be, where I was going to get amazing guests like you from, or even how to use the technology. And I've only just bought a mic a year on. So yeah, you just have to start, don't you, and see how things go. And as you said, I'm so glad that you listen to your gut, and because you're doing something that's so worthwhile. And don't listen to people, as you say, that try to put you down, that are experts in everything, that get your intention wrong and try to put you on the back foot and not push you forward. You need supporters that are pushing you forward.
Yes, exactly. And at the same time, as you said, like I'm a perfectionist too. And like, you know, looking back when you started and how many things you were like stuck there because you wanted to be perfect. And then later on in the line, you realize that, well, they were perfect like 10 trials before. Like, you know, you didn't need to master that task or that specific step to go forward because you can have been here the same way. So just like we always learning from our mistakes all the time. But yeah, it's a work in progress. Life, it is a work in progress. And we have like, we learning, we keep learning on everything. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And as you say, the word progress is so important, that you're never going to make progress as quickly as we need to, whether it be kind of feminist movements and promoting equality in the world, or starting a business. If we get everything perfectly right now and then tick that box and move along, that's not how life works. As you say, you learn as you go. No one's an expert at anything, are they? We're all faking it until we make it.
Exactly. And if you don't do mistakes, you don't have the chance to learn and to know what it's better to do in the next time. So allow yourself to do mistakes because it's absolutely fine, absolutely perfect as
Yeah.
it is. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And for a perfectionist like you and I, it's hard to swallow, isn't
Like
it?
we're fighting, we're fighting against ourselves. But yes, it's a good thing. It's absolutely a good thing. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned there that you need supporters around you. Don't listen to, as much as I don't like this word, haters. So one question that I always ask my podcast, this is kind of my final question to you before we close off. Have you got any heroes, and that can be a man or a woman or any other gender, that have supported you that you would like to tell us a bit about? Just to share a bit about their story, someone that's really supported you in your journey or in your life.
Wow. Many women have been a strong influence in my life, starting from my life, from my family. Like my grandma, she was a tailor, and so I definitely got the fashion sense from her. I still have some her dresses, and I'm still wearing some of her coats. And my mom, my sister, they all been such a strong influence for me. I would say. Probably every single woman I met in my life gave me something to be here today, in every single step. Um, Now that you mention also a man, there was actually a man he has a great art, and it really encouraged me to never give up on this project. And also because you have so many ups and downs, right? And no, always wake up in the morning, you're like, yes, I'm gonna make it and it's gonna be fantastic. Sometimes things don't go as you want, as you would like, as you wish, and you get demotivated or frustrated, and it's not great. But this man, which he has his own company, and it's always like, it's absolutely great what he's doing, because he discovered basically the CBD cure for animals, and the company is called Vet CBD. The company is based in California, and for me, he was such a strong pushing. Like he always pushed me forwards. Like, yes, don't care about it. And he created his own business from nothing. So he was like, don't worry, it's normal, just keep going. And it's special when you have this kind of business and you have support from a man. It's absolutely brilliant and special, because as we mentioned before, sometimes men are really not great on commenting and expressing their opinion. So like, it's also good to celebrate men helping women. So I think it was kind of, great to mention him in this conversation. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, no, exactly. We should be promoting men to be allies. They're going to help us progress. So that's a lovely story, and such a unique business that he's got, and so kind of aligned to what you do as well.
Yes, exactly. It's like he's so caring with animals and stuff, and it's just like he changed the life of so many animals out there. And it's in a way a person committed to change things in the world. So it's like, as long as, you know, we are committed to a change, to a better improvement, is something absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that hero nomination.
Thanks.
We don't often get men nominated, so that's always good.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Grazia. That has been an amazing conversation. I've taken so much from that, obviously. The fact that you want to break taboos with Olina. I love this the most. Embrace women to be the best version of themselves and build confidence in people. It's not just a fashion brand, as we've said, even though that's obviously, you put a massive hard work into building that business. So kudos to you for that. But you're trying to build a community as well, where people can talk in a safe space. And on top of that, around like contributing some of your proceeds to such worthy causes. Obviously, I already mentioned that Women's Aid is one that kind of touches me particularly, as I am an ambassador for Women's Aid. So I just want to say thank you again for
thank you so much.
I've enjoyed this conversation. I hope you have as well. And I can't wait.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, exactly. And come, like, I don't know if you're often around Chatsworth Road, but like come often there, and you will see, like, seriously, like if you stay there for like an hour of time, you will see how many people come there and have this conversation, which is great. Like, we could actually think about, you know, starting from there to create an events and create a community from there, because it's great, has been great, and it's fantastic. And I am so grateful to have the chance to talk to you